Hello, and welcome to what's going to be a very long day. I'm super excited though. So, Hino, Rob Torres, Angamando, good to see you. On Gator's Tavern Show. It's been a bit. I've seen you in other folks' chats, but I haven't seen you around here in a little while, so welcome back. It's good to see you. How is the game so far? Heard mostly bad things, but that's all gameplay stuff. If you're interested in AC for story and history, you wondered if they got their act together after last game of disappointment. They sure did. Though, I suppose there's an interesting thing though. Realistically, I think there's not music too loud can be fixed. This menu music is just so loud. I love it, but it's very loud. Anyway. There's kind of a weird thing where there's not less anachronism than AC Valhalla. Oh, there's a little bit less anachronism, but there's not that much less anachronism than AC Valhalla. But they do a much better job of stitching it together, and they have a very strong creative vision that's guiding when anachronism becomes acceptable. And that makes things work really well. Arcanist, good to see you on Board Game Geek. Haven't checked in for a while. How's things? Things are good. Assassin's Creed made a good game again, and don't know how to feel about that. But otherwise, things have been good. We've been hanging out, doing more history. Not a lot's changed, but we're happy to have you back. Alright, so here's the plan for today. We're going to be streaming for a total of about probably 8 or 9 hours today. That's a lot of time. But we're going to break it up into 2 chunks. So we're going to be going for the next 3.5 hours. Right, well this is going to be for today and tomorrow. Right, we're going to have a morning chunk. Then we're going to stop for lunch. And then we're going to come back and have an afternoon chunk. So we're going to have a mini one-person Islamic Studies conference. Just occurring today and tomorrow with the holiday. So that's super exciting. And thank you, Board Game Geek, for the tier 1 sub for 12 months. Looking forward to it. I'm glad to hear that. Now, if you're just tuning in, of course, as always, I'm Adam. I am a actual historian. I work in a rare books library, and I have graduate degrees in medieval studies and in cultural heritage studies. I'm also a published academic when it comes to the adaptation of history in video games and in board games, with my most recent publication coming out just 2 weeks ago. Karabachi, good to see you. So, here at Ludo History, we do a wide variety of historical games. Right now, that means a lot of Assassin's Creed Mirage. Next week, that's going to mean Total War Pharaoh. So, anything from the Bronze Age collapse to World War I has been covered on this channel. And so if you like that history content, you should hit that follow button to be notified for all of those streams, and come hang out and chat. If you want to support the channel further though, you can follow Board Game Geek's guidance and hit that subscribe button, or cheer bits, gifted subs. And if you don't want to give money to Twitch, which is frankly reasonable, you can head over to patreon.com/ludohistory, where for as little as $2 you can get your name in the credits and help make the channel continue. But if you support at higher levels, you can choose your favorite historical art to be an emote at $10, and at $25 you can make me play games like Sonic and the Black Knight, which is a game that's going to be coming up thanks to patron requests. Thank you, we appreciate you. And Dragon Age Origins, which is coming up somewhat sooner, but is less memeable. Anywho, since we take history very seriously, we do have some sources pulled up, basically the same ones thus far that we had yesterday. So I've got some stuff on gender and gender non-conforming people in the Umayyad Caliphate in Iberia, though that will also be applicable to the Abbasid Caliphate. And then I've got Patricia Baker's PhD dissertation on court dress in the Islamic world, so that we can detect fashion crimes. You think I'm going to talk about Indo-European curtain culture and prehistory too? I can talk a little bit about Indo-European linguistics, and even less. I can kind of muddle through most European history. Kurgan's not at all. I would have to do research. Luckily, we do have the power to do that, so if you see something in the game that you want us to look farther into, we do have channel point redemptions to be able to do that, and if you want to watch me go very far into the weeds on game design, you can do that using a different one, too. Hang on. I want to see if I can find this cookbook. Let's see. The Ibn Sayyar al-Warraq's 10th century cookbook. Let me... Sayyar al-Warraq 10th century cookbook. Let's see if I can find a... Yay! Oh no! Oh no! Chat, I found it. I have good news and I have bad news. Adding fashion police to your resume, nice. Hey! You're wondering where I'm from because you can't quite place the accent. I am American. I'm born and raised in the United States. That being said, my voice is, technical term, a mess. So my accent is from certifiably not here. Partly that's because I've lived all over the place. I grew up in Colorado, then lived for a while in the upper Midwest, then moved to Iceland for a few years, and now I'm back in the US. So, all of that does not explain my accent. My accent is unique to me and one other person in the world. So... I find that people either love it or hate it. But yeah, properly speaking, I am American, and that's fine. You're back and now at Patreon. Patreon. Thank you, Board Again Geek, for the continued support. Anyway, let's hop over to the other thing, so I can show you the good news, and I can show you the bad news. The good news is that it's a very respectable work, with a lot of good recipes in there. Very cool, you love linguistics, so that's real interesting. So, I can tell you a little bit more about my own voice, in that it was due to a speech impediment when I was very young. Somehow shoved all my vowels more towards BBC received pronunciation. So, kind of posh English, but I distribute them like an American. We should have notifications on. If my alerts are not going off, that's an error, not a... But no, go ahead and spam alerts, those are fine. Now that we have the cookbook, you say have the cookbook. You say have the cookbook. We're gonna need a couple more subscribers to get the cookbook. But the Annals of the Caliph's Kitchens, Ibn Sayyar al-Warraq's 10th century Baghdadi cookbook, published by Brill, by Nawal Nasrallah, or translated by Nawal Nasrallah. Thorough survey of the period and its food culture, extensive glossary in Arabic and English of medieval ingredients and dishes, and independence of historical figures provide the necessary reference tools for this work. And none of it is open access. I can't even get the plates. So, I'll have to poke around during one of the breaks to see if one of my institutional libraries has ebook access. We can do that though, now that we have the title. But on your own, if you are at a, since this demo channel skews heavily to college students, check your library, see if they've got a copy to dive deeper. Alright, without further ado though, I think we've got a video game to play. You're curious how recipes are formatted? I know historical recipes in English are a mess to try and parse. I said, I'm gonna, during the first ad break in about 45 minutes here, I am going to try and locate a copy. See if we can, if I have an ebook access through one of my libraries. And once we've done that, if we get access, we'll be able to check that. I'm also super curious. I'm guessing they are also a mess to try and parse. But also food. At that point we'll be coming right up on lunchtime. And so I should try and make everyone extremely hungry using extravagant, elite Baghdadi dishes, right? Right? You've heard that there's a contemporary Andalusi cookbook that actually uses measurements? What's that like? Oh yeah, don't I have another dagger right now? I totally do. Oh hey. Oh hey. So, you've just a full British Sunday lunch, but you might still be tempted. Well, lots of citrus and like iced fruit drinks and things. God, I'm spooked now. Chad, I'm so spooked. Smooth streaming begin. Alright. We're good. We're good then. Okay. So. Where were we? Oh right, the dagger. We got this just from a contract, but obviously its name is a reference to the Shahnameh, so this is gonna be, sadly there's no little historical trivia to it, but like the lion's, talisman that we've got here, it's going to be really, a fairly loose reference to the most famous story of the Shahnameh. Really the only one that I think is in the Western consciousness at all. If you are still getting nothing from the stream, try refreshing, because everything on my end suggests that we should be okay.
Do not stray.
So, Gamers Tavern Show, there is a little bit of a change, in that, right, this is a marginal upgrade on the previous AC games. Well, sort of. There are times when this game is super duper 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 beautiful. Right? Notice, we are not in Baghdad right now, we are outside in the wilderness. So when we're actually here in the city, there is actually a lot more to like, and the lighting effects at dawn and dusk are pretty phenomenal.
Keep to our path. An Order member is within our reach, Basim. And like those before and those yet to come, Al-Ghul's death will be just. This is a man who preys off the desperate and the disenfranchised. And such atrocities will only continue. For Al-Ghul is but a cog in a larger reel, one that spins destructively. So long as it does, we Hidden Ones will make it our mission to slow it to a stop. Today, you will lend your hand, your blade, to that very mission. And while Al-Ghul is your first target, he will not be your last. I have great belief in that, and in you. Through all my stoicism, my harsh lessons, know that you
Aww.
trust me, Basim.
Aww.
Your presence in Baghdad and beyond rests on shifting sands, so long as you remain at the tip of our spear.
And that is where
Well,
I
that's
intend to
lovely.
remain, beholden to your guidance, Master.
Terralingua, thank you for the 8 months at tier 1. I super appreciate it.
You drift too far.
Oh, Roshan, I'm right here. So what are the odds that it's going to be inside the ziggurat out there?
As busy as a beehive.
Come, set your sights under.
Oh, it's not going to be.
Merchants, livestock, caravans from all walks. And I thought Anbar's markets were
So,
disorderly.
we are visiting, if you're just tuning in, the plot is that we are tuning into a caravanserai.
Opportunity.
And
See what avenues present themselves. Be reactive, but patient. And trust your instincts.
That is Mas'ud, on the balcony, just as Ali described.
I see him. Go now. Wetted with the blood of the slain. I will find you when it is over.
okay. An assassination mission. Let's go.
You think your cruelties well hidden, Al-Ghul. For you chose those with little voice, whose cries you knew would go unheard. They dug at your bidding, died at your hand, and were cast away like so much refuse. All to scour the desert for some artifact. Even now you haggle for flesh, safe in the Caravanserai. You prefer your victims chained and starved. It is time you faced a man unbound.
Assassinate Al-Ghul. Al-Ghul, revealed as Masoud al-Yaqubi, is a member of the Order who preys on the desperate and disenfranchised, forcing them to dig in the desert for reasons unknown. One way he achieves this is by using his public status as a soap mill owner to quietly acquire migrant laborers eager for the promise of a livelihood. The Caravanserai is where he constructs such dealings. Look for distraction opportunities to lure out Al-Ghul. This is an interesting pivot, usually the villain's monologue, or your contact monologues about them. But yeah. I really like the narrative design for this.
I will be watching.
I actually...
Help, my friend.
Merchants, blacksmiths, a Manadi, a tailor out there, a trader out there. A historical marker right here. A secret entrance over there. We love that. More merchant groups. Stuff.
Fire has caused ruckus and alarm.
I will be watching.
Okay. So. Incredible mustache on that mask, truly. Roshan, let me do my thing. First, we should talk about Caravanserai. because those are things. And to do that, I bet we want to talk about this. What do you know? The Caravanserai, palace, sarai, in Persian for groups of people, caravan. That's just a Francicization of the Persian road. More roadside inn than palace. It offered a safe place and varying levels of comfort to merchants, pilgrims, and travelers recovering after a day's journey along the empire's roads. Caravanserai were commonly constructed by caliphs, their relatives, and members of the local elite to display their piety and generosity. Hundreds of them dotted the empire, particularly its Iranian Iraqi core. They were built about 30 kilometers apart. The distance a man and his pack animal could be expected to travel each day. In them, travelers could find safety for the night, exchange goods, share news, and pay taxes to ensure the maintenance of the facility. No two caravanserai were alike. Even if most of them featured a large courtyard surrounded by a wall, both their physical appearance and available facilities vary widely from one to another. In plains and deserts, the courtyard would be open and the walls made of dried bricks, while in the mountains, a fully roofed area would keep out rain and snow. The most well-appointed had a cistern, stables, prayer space, guards, and rooms for guests, but most were simple roofed galleries without any of these niceties. While no caravanserai survived from this period, the so-called desert palaces of the Umayyads like Qasr al-Khair al-Sharqi may have fulfilled a similar role. Qasr al-Khair al-Sharqi from 728. So this is an earlier Umayyad palace, which then they are using as a close enough analog to be able to model their caravanserai. It's unsurprising that these don't survive, because these are fairly... Please stop. Basim. I'm not doing anything. Yeah, we're... Fine. Oh, that's the sort of news I'd expect to hear, actually. Well, these guys are generally talking in a very political ad sort of way. Right, the Caliph approves this message. But the idea of, hey, heads up, there's an overturned cart, and that's screwing things up, is actually being good.
What is the delay?
I am not certain. Some guards came poking around and ordered us all to wait.
At this rate, we will be here until next sundown.
I like these guys' outfits. I don't know where they're from. I'd assume... Actually... Malawi? They might be traders from East Africa. I like their outfits. Right, they remind me of like Maasai. Outfits or traditional garb. But that is pure vibes, not anything rigorous. Hey. Sorry. Sorry everyone, I just poisoned the water. You maybe don't want to drink out of here for a while.
Do not mind me.
I really love this inside space. God, they're so good at decorating these interior spaces. They've got soap, they've got linen rags for washing, they've got this clear, like, washing basin that has signs of use. They've got someone using this little dish trough to, looks like, drink out of. They've got a cat. Kitty. Hi. Hi.
A strange thing to happen upon. Perhaps I can use this to my advantage.
Perhaps I can use what to my advantage?
Those two men are having a loud dispute, but not loud enough. How might I push them over the edge?
That's a good question. How might I?
Keep at it.
That's an interesting question. So this is like a crossroads town for travelers in between major towns? Exactly. I'd compare it to... Right, for a... I guess not more familiar, but at least more familiar to me context. I'd compare it to something like... waypoints along the Santiago de Compostela. So, I'd be like... So, for pilgrims on medieval European trade routes, right, they have these exact same stopover towns. About every day's journey, you have some sort of inn, stopping point, pop-up market, so semi-permanent constructions that are designed to provide hospitality for people.
Just passing through.
Dang, there's more guards now. I do have one of these.
Draw their eyes.
Why is there a Christmas ornament hanging off her back? It's a cosmetic talisman. That's a reference to, Rostam, the Persian hero king. We could have bought different ones, including ones that show off how rich we are. But basically, right, it's just some visible... Oh, this just takes me back out of the car. What?
Damn.
How'd that happen? Literally, how did that happen? No. I swear we're not this bad, Roshan. Look, we just need to get the job done. How we do that's not important. Camels. Well, camels are a mandatory cliche of any depiction of the Islamic world. These so-called desert ships have long been not only an iconic, but also a crucial means of transport across Eurasia. Camels were already a well-known method of travel during antiquity, used from Morocco to China. Their wide, padded feet helped them keep their balance on any path, while their fatty humps provided them with energy in regions where food was scarce. Moreover, camels could eat almost any plant, even thorny ones, and turn them into milk or meat for hungry caravanners. They also show greater resistance to extreme temperatures, with dromedaries, 1 hump, more desert resistant, and Bactrian camels, 2 humps, more tolerant to cold and high altitudes. They can carry much heavier loads than horses or donkeys, making them perfect pack animals. Again, everything I've seen suggests that a fully loaded camel with saddlebags can carry about 500 pounds of goods. Their efficiency and flexibility had a clear effect on the economic wealth of the Abbasid Empire, boosting its trade and facilitating travels all across its huge expanse. They were also useful in warfare, as they could run surprisingly fast. The preferential use of camels had important consequences on the landscape and the city planning of the empire. Caliphs did not need to maintain an extensive paved road network, as camels did not need one. Since camels made wheeled carts virtually unnecessary, Abbasid cities could also maintain narrower roads. The tall buildings that lined these narrow roads kept the city in shade, meaning the ambient temperature inside cities was several degrees lower than the surrounding open areas. And yes, camel milk. I'm sure we'll see that if I can find the cookbook, that there will be recipes with camel milk, but it is a thing that actually shows up shockingly frequently. Like, when in doubt, you can drink it, and it is extremely nutritious, and yep. You also see this in the documentary sources, right? The idea that water-bearing camels instead of wheeled carts are used, and right, in one of the sources we checked out a couple days ago, which, as a reminder, is translated and stored in this book, Matthew Gordon's The Rise of Islam. Right, when talking about the eviction of the markets to Al-Kar from Baghdad, or from the Round City, I should say. Where did it get put? The person at the beginning of it. There we go. Right, Isa ibn Ali complained to the Caliph al-Mansur, "O Commander of the Faithful, it is tiring for me to walk from the gate of the courtyard to the palace, for I have become weak. Have you carried yourself in a litter? No, I'm embarrassed because of the people." Al-Mansur said, "Is there anyone who continues to be embarrassed because of them?" But Isa continued, "Allow me, O Commander of the Faithful, what is allowed, one of the water-carrying camels." The Caliph says, wait, do water-carrying or riding animals enter the city? And then he bans them from doing exactly that. Bans... So, the answer to, "Hang on, I'm sickly and old, can I have a camel to ride into the city?" is, lol no, and ban all animals from entering. So, Lady Isabel, yes, but at the same time, they are the Arabic Orchestra of New York. So, well, yes, I hear you. We are operating in a very weird intersection of stereotype and honest diasporic representation. Because yes, they're given scores that are a little bit stereotypical, but like it is the Arabic Orchestra in New York City that is performing all the music. So yeah. Anyway. No, it's a good point. That's one of the things I found difficult about this game so far, is that it's walking a very fine line between, you know, that and very culturally nuanced things, and it's, I think, working very successfully on making this accessible without being stereotypical, but it can go a little bit either way. Remember reading the big advantage to horses over camels that horses take to training more easily? Camels are a lot more difficult to train. Yeah, camels are assholes. Technical term from purely anecdotal experience. Camels are absolute jerks. Is that rigorous historical fact? Yes. Obviously. My anecdotal experience is universal. You would love to have a camel? More power to you.
Pay me no mind.
Hey, I'm just hanging out. Don't worry about me. See? I'm blended in. Well, donkeys can't pick you up by the head and throw you, or have tusks, so you prefer a donkey? Yeah, camels are domesticated. They're not just vaguely tame.
Ignore me.
How the heck? This area is actually super well guarded. Heck. With 2 guards there, that makes it very hard to get anywhere. Let me look around. Okay, those 2 guards are gone. Hello.
We were promised steady work and fruitful returns. Now we're being made to slog in the desert. We were deceived. Please, you must help us.
Tell me what I can do to help.
The man who brought us has a deed that binds us to Mas'ud. If he has not collected his fee, he should still be here.
If I can relieve these men of their duty, it will not be long before Al Ghul catches wind of his disbanded workforce.
Do we have skills that are actually helpful? That's a good question. Tagging enemies is easier. Breakfall. Tagging enemies is easier. I also could have upgraded some of my armor.
Act as usual.
Thank you, do not available. Oh no. Let's just have a sit down. And now we'll look at Enkidu. So in that house, or there's that one which is known. Well, I unlocked something there. Looks like there's that thing, and then there's like 2 things. One underneath there. Yup. And then one under there.
Do not make a scene.
That is a gorgeous bird, yeah it is. So, my old friends, good to see you again.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. Could I interest you?
Pomegranates! Yeah! Yeah!
My pomegranates are ripe and succulent.
Is that what you have come to trade? Let me think on it.
Wait, all your fruits rules. We've got all what? No, dates, I think. Just like very green dates. And grapes, and mangoes, and pomegranates, and apples, and oranges or citrons. And maybe already picked pomegranates and pears. And mangoes. So many mangoes. So? I wasn't doing anything.
Be better.
You thought mangoes were from the New World? Nope, they are from India and Southeast Asia. Grenade apples! Dang it. I was hoping you would be blind. And, then you weren't. Okay, there's like 6 of them right there, though, so I'm gonna have to run around. I'm in the bush. Now you are also in a bush. Goodbye. And we back in it. This is actually like somewhat difficult.
Well
Hello.
met, traveler. The Caravanserai is rich with wares today.
Kill the civilian, he's a witness now.
Had any goods to sell?
I only deal in dirham, and what I sell are not goods, boy. Though I suppose that depends on who you are.
He, legally speaking, they're sort of halfway
I
people.
sell men, laborers, but my lot is spoken for.
Could I change your mind? I have coin to spare, and could use men such as yours.
15,000.
That is absurd. Who has the means to pay so much?
It is better to keep that question to yourself. Be on your way now.
If I am going to free those laborers, I will have to steal the deed. Now to free those men.
Where is... The deed? Have I dropped it?
No. No, heck. Go inside the thing. Thank you.
I am not here.
I am sneaky. As we say. Nope, no one cares. See, this guard doesn't care. You have a child. They can't pickpocket. Not going to pickpocket you.
I have claimed the deed from your handler.
Anyway,
You are bound no longer.
I am not here, as he hides very audibly.
Al-Ghul will take notice. I must be ready to strike. Word will surely get to Al-Ghul. Come out and spectate, coward. As you were.
Yep, as we were. I have to get above, up there. Oh.
There he is. Now is my chance.
Hey, you!
This ends now.
Nailed it. Wow. Dramatic. We should run. We should probably run. Memory corridor.
Turn your hate inward, Masood. It is your wickedness that has led you here.
Wickedness? To whom? The unenlightened? The feeble who have cast their lot? It is our divine will to rule over them. Our duty to exact their contribution.
Contribution to what?
To what could be. The very knowledge of which lies buried beneath these sands.
Some things are meant to stay that way.
No. These are gifts, destined to be recovered. They speak to us, as you well know.
Me?
Oh yes, a hidden one you may be, but not just.
Dun dun dun. How are they identifying sages on site? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's also panic attack time. Assassin's Focus. When out of conflict, trigger Assassin's Focus with R to execute a perfect series of assassinations. While Assassin's Focus is active, press select to change the target with B and press A when done. So we go target, and we go target, and then we go launch. Okay, well, Chad I think got it in one.
Clear your mind.
Arcanist, you got it in one. Al-Ghul's
relentless pursuit at the expense of human lives has come to an end. It is a day of victory. Not only for those spared of his cruelty, but for the hidden ones. The Order's grand plot in Baghdad may still be a mystery, but we can at least be certain Al Ghul's role in it has been vanquished.
I believe what he sought to uncover were more strange objects, like the one I took from the Winter Palace. What does the Order want with these relics of the past? And why guard them with so much effort?
You are beginning to ask the right questions, Basim. We shall find.
Oh yeah, by the way,
together.
Roshan, over by the northern oasis, there's a cave.
Nothing. Forget I said anything.
How am I to guide you if you...
Getting called out on his nonsense.
I have struggled with nightmares.
Like the ones that...
These dreams,
Not under a cigarette, just in a watery
I
cave.
wake up panicked and soaked with sweat. In Alamut, I had nearly forgotten about it. But when I killed Al Ghul, I felt its presence again. And I am left asking why? Why here? Why now? Why me? Piling questions and no answers. I meant to tell you, but...
You were afraid I would think you weak of mind.
Could someone vet that link?
We are only as weak as we allow ourselves to be.
Alright.
To shed a weakness.
Mod check.
You must
Hey,
do
mods.
what is necessary to mend that which causes you pain.
Van, thank you.
Will you permit me a brief respite? I wish to seek out an old friend.
Niha? I remember. She is important to you, isn't she?
She is. But last we spoke, I led her to believe otherwise.
This causes you pain. Then go and heal this wound without delay.
We love bots around here.
I'll be a bureau when it is set out.
If that was indeed Nihal, I have not a clue where she went.
Eliminated the slaver.
Back home in Anbar, maybe.
Alright. JCDC, hello. Alright, so this is our first, I guess, explicit non-codex acknowledgement that what the game has been the game has been saying, hiring migrant laborers of Persian origin for the most part, which is a very, contemporary concern for an Anglo-American audience, especially an American audience, and takes a very, stop maltreating them approach to it, which we do love to see. But the game also just confirmed with the purchasing and selling of deeds of ownership. Of deeds of ownership and eliminated the elimination of the slaver. Right, so uses migrant laborers to dig alongside the imprisoned. So it looks at like debt slavery, and quote-unquote migrant laborers. Migrant laborers means captured, unfree people. Right, I think we should just, until... Well, certainly there are, right, free laborers who are poor, work for days' wages, and often were conscripted into doing harsh work. That in and of itself is not wrong, or an illusion of historical fact. This is the capture and taking of and trade in human beings. And these human beings, right, legally in the opposite Caliphate, have a sort of half status, where they are not their property, but they are a property that is recognized as people. And since they're property that are recognized as people, they operate in a very, weird... a weird hybrid space. Unfortunately, the treating them as property tends to win out. Mount not available. I disagree. Mr. What was it? Balthazar? Balthazar grumbles. He zooms. So yeah, the game has overall been very quiet about acknowledging it. Camel sounds like a creaky door. That, unfortunately, is just how camels sound. They're very loud and kind of gruff. Yeah, at least they sort of kind of half-heartedly said it. Right, they acknowledge, oh, these are people. Right, I don't deal in cargo. Well, it depends on who you ask. Right, they would... But yeah. Slavery is rampant in the Abbasid Caliphate. Now that's a good question. Did they? No. No, it's walking like a camel. We're not rocking side to side like we're a camel. Right. We're not swaying quite as much as a camel actually does, but it does have the front back move that we expect. Anyway. Right, enslaved people in the Caliphate can be basically split into 3 main groups. Let's make it 4 main groups. The first group and the largest group are agricultural laborers. So, like, you know, hard to tell this guy here, but I would be unsurprised if he is enslaved given, you know, the minimal clothing, the wearing rags, and the fact that someone who is significantly better dressed, though still not super well dressed, is standing right next to him supervising. These are the main, right, they can be taken from anywhere. Slavic men and Sudanese or East African men are the dominant groups taken for this, but you could get almost anyone. The Zanj Rebellion is working with these agricultural laborers, or it starts among these agricultural laborers with the work of Ali ibn Muhammad to organize them. And yeah, they have a rough go of it, because this area of the world has massive salt deposition issues, and so in addition to all of this labor, you have to do a lot of digging work, like what we saw near the canal back out near Baghdad yesterday, in order to clear away the salt, in order to be able to actually farm. And that's a problem. Class number 2 is, of course, the military. Anyone who's wearing black and red in this game, I think, until otherwise proven, we should assume are enslaved. So, like, these folks, right here.
What do you see?
Right. All these guys. Firstly, they are committing fashion crimes because they're not high enough ranking to be wearing black and red. But we should probably just assume that they are wearing that they are unfree. Don't worry about me. The folks wearing brown and blue, I think, are probably... Right, because the black and red seems to indicate the Caliphal Guard, and the Caliphal Guard in this period are Mamluks. Turkish, enslaved soldiers of Turkish origins. Have you always wondered, if your soldiers are slaves, how do you prevent slave rebellions? That's the neat part. you don't. The anarchy at Samarra could be interpreted, though I think doing so would be broadly dubious, as an extended slave revolt, as they keep picking different caliphs, and, stabbing their previous pick. The third class of enslaved people are, palatial servants, who are often castrated. Right, these are male enslaved palace workers, who are eunuchs. Because they operate in a very weird space socially. Because they are, castrated, that does weird things to their perception as, like, a threat in social concept. And so, right, eunuchs are allowed into the harem, where other men just fully aren't, outside of the caliphal family. Eunuchs, being castrated, are allowed to. This gives them huge access to the sweet drama. This gives them almost like the greatest access in the world to the sweet drama that, and the hot goss that operates is the centerpiece of the opposite caliphate. And means that they often are extremely wealthy advisors. They are appointed to positions of fairly high office, such as guards to the main gates to the round city. And otherwise, right, despite being unfree, have access to far more social prestige and social power than we typically associate with enslaved people. They are still unfree, though, and they still do not have a choice in being mutilated. So, that's rough. Space Panini, hello. We are not talking about happy... Right. We're not talking about a happy topic, but we're talking about a very interesting topic. Since we just stabbed a slaver, we've got to talk about enslavement in the opposite caliphate. Because I'm a historian, and we're doing history. We're doing history with AC Mirage, and having a grand time doing it. But yeah, much can be said about eunuchs as a third gender, and they are all caps weird. The assumption that eunuchs are non-sexual is complex and coincides with the assumption that they are hypersexual, because they're feminized, and all in all, it is, broadly queerphobic and a mess. Yeah, exactly. Especially, black eunuchs, are somehow both non-sexual and wildly hypersexual, and the framing device of the Book of 1001 Nights is, adultery, an assumption of adultery between the Sultan, I think unnamed Sultan's wife, first, or favored wife, with a black eunuch. It's weird and kinda gross. But, showcases just how complex this is. And then the fourth and final class of enslavement I would identify is, slaves who are assigned female's birth and purchased for the entire purpose of being, victims of sexual violence. Honestly, I'm having a great time with the game so far, and it is beautiful. It has defeated me at every time I tried to nitpick it for its history, and I'm loving that. His brother then won us him by cheating with every eunuch, yeah. 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 So, again, like, eunuchs, domestic, especially Caliphal, or, women owned by elite men in, palatial contexts as sex slaves, are have access to, like, a lot of social power. They, especially when their kids in the harem become the next caliph. That is the case for a lot of the later Abbasid caliphs, is that their mothers are enslaved in the harem instead of being free women that the caliph has proposed to. And so Al-Mamun's harem has several hundred people in it. So people taken as slaves, often from like Slavic and Kurdish contexts, right, captured, sold in Baghdad, and bought by the Khalifa family and put in the harem for the sexual gratification of the ruling man. But they are also exert a lot of agency in their own right, and that's again an incredibly complex space, and it's really hard to pin down to something pithy, because yeah, when they are some of the most powerful people in the Abbasid world are enslaved, and that is a contradiction of sense that takes a lot of wrangling to try and make work through. Would like to point out, because again, as I mentioned, Slavic enslaved people in this particular trade network could be just about any European ethnicity. Agreed. Absolutely. They often do mean, you know, Slavic is in Rus. Or people that the Rus captured from other, Proto-Slavic speaking areas. But it also just as much, agreed, means, people from the Caucasus. It could occasionally be used to refer to Khazars, or Bulgars, or people living in the modern day Balkans. And so, right, there's a lot of the Abbasid sources kinda don't give a shit about being nuanced about who lives where, unless if they are Ibn Fadlan or Al-Tartushi. And so there's a lot of fuzziness in terms that scholars have spent a lot of ink trying to, like, tease out and figure out what exactly they conceptualized when they said this. You can bet the castle is the best game ever. True.
Basim? It's really you?
Nihal.
Ha!
Say nothing, ya Sadiqi. I am as sorry as you.
Aww. Yeah, harem politics is so complex and so frustrating that there's so much romanticization and sometimes dangerous ideas in fiction.
But first, I must know something.
In fiction, there's a thin line of what's okay to present as history and what's okay in fiction.
Perhaps I have less to tell you than I thought.
I think I can surmise what our time apart has been like for you.
Ha!
And you? You have not been living here, I hope.
Less living, more working.
On what? Why do I know this?
Oh no.
Because you have seen it. On the object we found at the Winter Palace.
Oh no.
I have been trying to remember the specifics of its design.
You have spent all this time obsessing over this symbol? Why?
Because I too have seen it before. I know not where or when. Only that I have. Whatever it is, it calls to me. I intend to unravel its mystery, and so should you. But of course, duty calls.
Stop. I will bear it in mind if it means you will spend more time outside these musty walls than you do within.
Aww.
You do spare a thought for everyone, don't you, Basim?
Is Basim a prophet? Not one of Juno's, But yes, he is a sage of Loki.
The Order of the Ancients are far from defeated. Master Roshan is certain to have a plan brewing to uproot them.
I've already found this. Hang on, no, game. Game, hang on a minute, I've already done this. Yeah. It's hard to live here when I'm not real, I assume, yeah. But yeah, on the Harem, right, the politics are so difficult, but yeah, it's so hard, without speaking Arabic, to access good material about them, because the 18th and 19th centuries in Europe happened. And I don't know, let's see if I can find art that won't get me immediately demonetized to show you what I mean by the 18th and 19th centuries happened. Let me see if I can get it not demonetized for this. Am I looking this up specifically to hit it with a Judicial, Edward Said? Yes. Am I going to do this? Do I have one that isn't going to... Okay, not there. But he is murder least foul? Yeah. Yeah, that sums it up. Alright, so, we're just gonna leave it at, Really? That's due to rights restrictions, this image cannot be enlarged as full screen or downloaded. Well, that's okay. This one is not gonna get me super demonetized, so we'll use this one. Sadly, that is as much as I am allowed to do that, even that's kind of pushing it. The description is useful here, though. Orientalist painters were intrigued by the secret world of women at the hammam, or bath, which was inaccessible to Western male eyes. Paintings of the type represent voluptuous female bodies in various stages of undress, sometimes accompanied by servants or entertainers. The scene likely imagines a private bath in a palace harem, evidence in the water basin in the lower left corner, or lower right corner, a mosaic in the lower left. So, hooray. This is what we have to deal with, because the harem, which is related, well, for a word that comes to mean forbidden, right, haram, being a thing that's forbidden, a harem is a place that is forbidden for men who are not of the caliphal family to enter. So this becomes a primarily women and palatial children's space, and eunuchs. And so it's a place of massive... How made up is this? Like, yeah, those numbers feel about right. That 110% feels pretty close, because, right, Western painters in the 18th, 19th, early 20th century look at it and they say, obviously they must be doing sexy things, TM, in this space, and that's why men can't be in. So it ends up often being kind of weirdly sapphic. And almost always fetishizing. And our boy Edward Said basically takes a look at this era of art history and this genre of art and looks at this as a way of the quote-unquote modern, right, the industrializing West, as a way to define itself through this combination of revulsion and fascination with the thing that they are not. Yeah, and by Western women in when they said, it's just a place for us to hang out. And I was like, no, it's sexy, isn't it? Exactly. And so you see that, right, of that, like, I mean, look, those two are dating and you cannot... Hang on, my cursor's gone. There's my cursor. Those two are dating and you cannot tell me otherwise. Meanwhile, the actual activities taking place are like, hey, do you want to overthrow the government? True. Honey, can you assassinate the Wazir's wife? Also, you know... Hey, I think my son's cooler and better than you. No. Ah. Fights. But they're roommates, in the sense that they both live in the harem. You know, you're not wrong. They are technically roommates. But yes, right, the machinations of Umayyad and Abbasid women in the harem to become the favored, right, the term used in scholarship is usually favored wife. Right, first wife is the eldest, or the actual chronological first person in the harem. But the favored wife is the status symbol, because if you are the favored wife, you have the ear of the Caliph the most often, and so you can push your agenda and your ambitions through by just having access to conversations more than anyone else. That's a big deal. Once again, asking the universe for a harem political intrigue game? Exactly. I hope that this game does not have any harem scenes, but if it does, I'll be real curious to see how they handle it. Okay, so I just need to go to the oasis up here.
Perhaps I should look into Nihal's obsession. It seems Nihal is trying to discover the location of a
I've already discovered it, though. I've already discovered... Like, I literally have already been there. Are you an actual historian? Why, yes, I am. I have a master's degree in Viking and Medieval Scandinavian Studies from the University of Iceland, and a Master's of Library Science in Cultural Heritage Studies, and I'm currently on a contract job in a rare books library, so I work with consulting and helping researchers locate materials for their research. I'm also a published academic on the adaptation of history into video and board games, and have another publication in the works on the conception of environment and climate crisis in 13th century Icelandic literature. So, yes, I am an actual historian, and we are using the research skills and access I have to materials to help understand this game. I've got about a 15-page reference document. I did some editing down on it, and have a few other books pulled up here as well. Happy to have you here. Yeah, no, that's fair. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Right, this is your first time hanging out, and we're going to get that it's useful to get that introduction. It's a very nice dome, isn't it?
Be my eyes, Enkidu.
I assume that's my viewpoint out there. Are there other viewpoints in the area? No, it appears to be just the one. I appreciate that it's just minarets, all minarets, for our viewpoints. That feels very, I don't know, that feels good. Well, that's not quite true. It was almost all minarets, and then an Historian monastery. But also, no, I do identify, as straight, so, you know, do with that what you will. Why does every place ever seem to have a place called the Winter Palace? Because you need somewhere to live in the winter. Which Assassin's Creed would you suggest for someone who has never played one? This one. Legitimately, I'd suggest this one. It's not the tightest mechanically, but if you aren't already on the juice, like if you're not already on the Assassin's Creed juice, what am I seeing here? Mysterious shards. No, don't play AC2 or AC1. And the reason why you don't say that, why I say that, is that those games mechanically are tough. Like those games, those mechanics don't know. Those mechanics are not super fun to play. So if you like older games, AC2 is great. AC2 is a great game, but you have to deal with the fact that its mechanics are from 2009. So there's a lot of jank, and there's a lot of what we would consider inaccessible design these days. This game is significantly mechanically more streamlined, and so I think is a better entry point while showcasing a lot of the good things for Assassins. Good things that Assassin's Creed can do as, like, a design and as a historical setting. Split the difference, watch a playthrough of AC2 first? Well, that's fair. Like, I love AC2. I'm super excited for when we get around to actually doing it on the channel. But right, I think this game has a certain... thus far has been narratively, like, really tight, and does not rely on you knowing a whole lot about the Assassins first, and is... I mean...
nothing can hide from us, Enkidu.
It's a darn pretty good game. Is Baghdad around where Iran and Iraq is now? Yes. It is... the historical Baghdad is in the same location as the modern-day city of Baghdad, which is the capital of Iraq. So we are on the western bank of the Tigris River, at the closest point before the Tigris and the Euphrates meet. So, right. You can see the Euphrates is somewhere out over in the distance here, but this is the Tigris River. So, right, we've got the round city of Baghdad here, and a little bit down this direction, you're going to have Ctesiphon and Seleucia, the historical capitals of the Persian and Greek empires from a couple hundred years previously. Yeah, it's also been a historical site since extremely ancient times. Right, one of the sites that we've saw, actually right here, nope, not right there, right here, this is the remains of a Kassite ziggurat dating to like 1800 BC. And so, right, we have several thousand years, even at this period, of human habitation and monumental architecture in this part of the world. Right? And to be clear, without going into like which Assassin's Creed games are good, if I didn't say this one, I was going to say AC2, right? Like AC2 is the other game to start with. Like that's not a spicy take. AC2 is a great game. Okay.
You have no business here.
Yes, I do. Other palaces. Baghdad was the Caliphal capital and residence for most of the Abbasid period, but before, as well as after the foundation of the city, some caliphs chose to live in other locations. The first Abbasid Caliph al-Safa had chosen the city of Anbar, a major crossing point of the Euphrates, occupying an extremely fertile region as his capital. From the 3rd to the 7th centuries, it had been called Shapur, from the name of the Sasanian king Shapur I, who in 244 had won a great victory in the city's vicinity against a Roman army. Choosing this strategic and symbolically important location therefore seemed like a good option. But the city's population was unhappy with what it considered the Abbasid usurpation, and defiantly continued to refer to the Caliph's palace as the Hubayra, from the name of the last Umayyad governor of Iraq. When the Caliph al-Mansur succeeded al-Safa, he promptly started to look for a new location for the capital, eventually founding Baghdad in 762. 80 years later, another Abbasid Caliph chose a new location as his capital. Caliph al-Mutasim, ruled 833 to 842, wanted to insulate his army from Baghdad's politics. Well, let me mention insulate in more detail. We've got sources talking about this specifically. So, those are Prophet's Wisdoms, that the wealthy Abbasid court cities in Egypt, housing the Turkish units at Samarra. From the Kutab al-Buldan, the book of, what is it? It's not the world. It's a geography textbook by Ahmed ibn Abi Yaqub al-Yaqubi. The document treats the foundation of Samarra by the Caliph al-Mutasim. For roughly 60 years, Samarra replaced Baghdad, founded by al-Mansur a half-century earlier, as the Abbasid capital. The history of Samarra was shaped in large part by the activity of a sizable Turkish military. Turkish commanders played, for a short and violent period, the role of kingmakers by selecting and assassinating a series of caliphs. The Turkish rank and file, towards the end of this period, engaged in riots and civil war. Little wonder that the Abbasids finally abandoned the city for their original capital during the reign of al-Mu'tadid. The author of this section, al-Yaqubi, died 897, wrote not only the geography from which this passage is taken, but also a well-regarded history. Raised in Baghdad, al-Yaqubi served in several provincial administrations in Armenia and Egypt, probably as a financial official. Quote, "When the rough and ill-mannered Turks rode their horses, they did so at full gallop, knocking down people right and left. The urban toughs would seize hold of them, killing some, beating others. The Turks' blood was shed with impunity, while the local authorities did nothing to retaliate against those committing such deeds." This state of affairs weighed heavily on al-Mutasim, and he resolved finally to leave Baghdad. He went to al-Shamsiyah, the place where al-Ma'mun used to go for days, sometimes months. They decided to build a city in al-Shamsiyah, which was located a distance outside Baghdad. The area of the site grew too cramped for him, however, and he was uncomfortable with his proximity to Baghdad, so he departed for al-Burdan on the advice of al-Fadl ibn Marwan, who was then his chief minister. This was in the year 836. The text goes on to say that al-Mutasim visited several other sites along the Tigris River, none of which he found suitable. He then came across a new site, which was to be known as Samarra, and ordered the start of construction. He distributed areas of the new settlement to his officials and commanders, and settled his military forces in their new quarters. For the Turkish units, he adopted specific measures, as the following passage indicates. Al-Mutasim isolated all of the areas on which he settled the Turks from those in which he settled the civilians, setting the one entirely apart from the other, so that the Turks would not interact with any of the local population, nor would any but the Faragida live beside them. He allowed to Ashinas and his companions the area known as Al-Karh, and assigned to him a number of Turkish officers and soldiers. He ordered him to build the mosques and markets. He allowed it to Khagan Urtug and his companions the area adjoining Al-Jasaq al-Haqqani, and ordered him to settle in one place all those who were assigned to him, that is, by forbidding them to mix with townspeople. He allotted to Wasif and his companions the area adjoining Al-Hayr. He had built a long wall, which he called the Hayr al-Hayr. He ordered that all the distributed areas on which the Turks and the, quote, uncivilized Farghina were settled were to be built far from the markets and everyday hubbub, on wide avenues and long side streets. Then Al-Mu'tasim purchased for the Turks slave women and married them to these women. He forbade them or anyone related to them from marrying into the local populace so that their offspring would marry only among themselves. He ordered that the slave women assigned to the Turks be given fixed salaries and that their names be placed in the military registers. None of them would be allowed to divorce or abandon his wife. So, saying insulate the army means they were stabbing each other about it. I'm guessing it's usually pretty chill. Yeah, we've got a good crew here that are hanging out, being super chill. Right. We sometimes do get into pretty big disagreements, but we get into very big history disagreements. And very big history disagreements are fun and good times for everyone. Anyway, so I think this is an understatement. Insulate his army from Baghdad's politics. There's also a lot of genuine violence happening in Baghdad that Al-Mu'tasim is not a huge fan of. Anyway, in 836, he therefore moved his court administration and army to a massive new city located 130 kilometers north of Baghdad. Samarra, or Samarra. He who sees it is delighted. It was a completely new foundation of artificial creation, and as such acted as a powerful statement of caliphal power. But it was also untenable, in part due to an insufficient water supply. In 892, after the Caliphate returned to Baghdad and started pouring vast sums of money into Samarra, its elegant buildings became gigantic ruins haunted by a golden past. Well preserved, they have been part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site list since 2007 and provide an unparalleled example of Abbasid architecture and urbanism. The spiral minaret of the Great Mosque of Samarra. This is created in 849 by Al-Mutawakkil, who we stabbed. Look at how cool of a thing he built, and we stabbed him about it. So, by the way, if you've seen this before, you probably have seen this before. You just don't know it. Chat, has anyone seen this, has anyone actually seen pictures of this minaret before outside, of this game, or in the context of this game? You don't think I have? Nope. You remember learning about this in high school? Wow, what a good high school course. That's like that doesn't get shown all that much. Even I had a pretty good high school course and I didn't get that. Oh, that one shows it better. Let me pull this one. Please don't be, hang on, I need to find a good, the appropriate, rendition of the painting at a resolution higher than 200 pixels. Seriously? There we go. Thank you, Wikimedia Commons. This is one of the versions of the Tower of Babel by Peter Bruegel the Elder. This is the Great Mosque at Samarra. Actually, you saw it somewhere. Would you believe you saw this from Fate? Another one. You should join the Discord. And you should talk to the fate ruiners of my life, because there are several of them, and they are united in ruining my life, and we love them for that. You're also a big Fate fan. No, it's great. There's no need to apologize. It's just that I have been personally victimized by the Fate franchise, and you all should take great glee from that. But is Math here? Math's in the Discord. I don't think Math is around right this second. The nature of any history community is that every so often Fate will be mentioned. Yep. At some point, someone's going to Patreon make me play a Fate game. I know it. I can feel it in my bones. Can I get the Adam versus Fate hot goss? Yes. So, there's a story here. In your emote list, there is a party sheep. What is the scale of this minaret? You know, I don't actually know that off the top of my head. Let me look it up. So, way back when, several years ago at this point, there was an event on the Overly Sarcastic Productions Discord, making historians react to Fate. Blessedly, it never got recorded. But we got people with backgrounds in various mythologies to look at how Fate renders various historical and mythological figures. That... Jesus Christ. Hang on, to answer the question, because I got distracted. Hut's questions, what the scale of this minaret? 52 meters, or 171 feet. Jesus! Wait, no. That wrong religion. Alhamdulillah? That's wild. Yeah, no, that's half a... No, that's 5% of a kilometer. 50 meters, not 500 meters. It's like slightly bigger than the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. It's still big. It's still big. Yeah, bigger than Statue of Liberty. I think is a useful metric for the Americans, because we love anything except the metric system. Anyway, back to the story. I was brought on to be the Germanic myths and culture space person to suffer, and you know, a lot of it was fine, mediumly offensive. What do you... Guess who uses this map? It's Queen. Uh-huh. Americans will do anything except use metric. It's at this point, it's purely pride. It's not efficiency, it's just pride. But yeah. Let me actually click back into the game so we get music again. Hold up. Music. So, we were doing okay. Most of the Germanic renditions in Fate were relatively inoffensive. Some weird choices, some things that I would not agree with, but things that make reasonable sense given what's going on. But... Oh, why am I getting a phone call? Anyway. I'll have to check that in a bit. But the end of the story is they showed me the Christmas alt for Attila the Hun, which has a big fluffy sheep on it. They did you dirty. I told you, I've been victimized by fate. I will never ever recover. Anyway. Is there a video on this? Blessedly, no. This was also like 4 years ago. So, I did, however, start, wildly giggling. Anyway. I think, that's a great point for us to take an ad break. So, we're gonna, I'll leave you all with our glorious quest nails. As a reminder to folks, all of my emotes, are from actual medieval and more modern manuscript art. So, you get access to all those lovely things. But I shall leave you with our other actual historical medieval art of our quest nails. And we shall return in just a couple of minutes and continue on with AC Mirage then. So don't go anywhere. We will be back soon. Alright, welcome back everyone. Aside from the L with a rabbit on the computer, that's original. You're right, this was a commission, right, the logo for the channel is a commission by community member AC, or from community member AC Esquire, which is pretty great. It is, however, derived from two different medieval things. The first one is one of our emotes, Little Hidden Notes. So our little rabbit taking notes, reading a book, being very studious. Obviously we do stuff online, therefore it's a computer now. And second, a medieval tradition known as puzzle initials. So the red and blue and gold is very stereotypical of 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th century puzzle initials, which are basically just, you know, a way for scribes to show off calligraphically when they're not creating miniatures within the letters themselves. So, there's coming out of very well-attested medieval traditions, though. It is a delightful modern thing. Are these influenced from Illuminated stuff? Most of them are from Illuminated stuff, directly taken from manuscripts that have been digitized by the British Library. There are a couple of exceptions. Cringe is the Empress of Ethiopia with a gun. I thought it was the Virgin Mary, I was actually misremembering, but it's from an Ethiopian painting depicting the 1896 Battle of Adwa, where the Ethiopian army, led by the Emperor and Empress of Ethiopia, defeat a much larger Italian colonial army. Additionally, we've got a couple that come out of Southeast Asian manuscripts, which I will not call illuminated because, you know, that's not quite how that works. And lastly, you know, our stare and our if you cheer bits, our permission to be just a little guy at 1,000 cheered bits, are from Ethiopian magical charms of uncertain date, probably 19th century. So yeah, all the stuff here is actually directly taken from various illustrated manuscript traditions, and some are taken from look, I have paywalled a marginalia moment. Good point. I don't have the emote wall up here, but we do have it over here. So let's go. Pick your favorite emotes, especially our marginalia emotes, and they shall bounce around the screen in delight. Our little guy there is from a calendar at the beginning of a book of hours. So our little guy wearing a cloak is February in a medieval calendar as part of the traditional design for February for that period. It's pretty great. Let's see. We've got our PogChamp is from the Luttrell Psalter, and our Zoom is from a very, very well-known thing, and don't worry about what the rest of that head is attached to. And our Lurk is from the Lindisfarne Gospels. I think. Yes. I'm pretty sure they're Lindisfarne. He's just a cool little guy. It's so many good emotes, right? So, if you want all of those, remember, you get 5 for free for following, and if you subscribe to the channel using Prime subs, gift subs, or regular subs, you get access to additional emotes. Higher levels of subs get additional emotes, including a very looking king taking a nap. Let me drop him. Where is he? Actually, did I remove him? I might have removed him. I think I did. We cycle through them regularly, so right now our resident sleeper of a very cozy looking king is not in the rotation. But additionally, if you go over to Patreon at the $10 for $10 a month, you can choose an emote. A couple of you still have to tell me which emotes you want. So if that's you, you should do that so we can add them into the rotation and get more good marginalia. We also have more emotes available on the Discord that are all still also taken from actual historical art. Because they're so memes and we've got to enjoy them. So thank you all for that marginalia moment. Let's hop back into it. I think it's also about time that we change our outfit. I'm gonna be real.
Not welcome here. Go.
Don't worry, you're not the only one who has yet to do that. What are the odds I'm gonna butcher this? Nailed it. All right, Derwish. Derwish, what's the energy? What have we got today? What antiquarian goodie do you want us to have? Come on, come on, come on. Yes. Let's go. A starter attacker. A richly ornamented box made from silver, gold, and enamel. It was made in the Byzantine Empire, displays the crucifixion, and allegedly contains a piece of the true cross. Byzantine reliquary boxes. I know that, right? That's the first one that I think was genuinely valuable. Let's go grab the mysterious shard out here. And then we'll teleport over. Wait, you think you saw that in Helsing? That's entirely possible, actually. Ha! By this point in time, there's like a full force worth a piece of the true cross, right? There will come to be more. We're still in a period of more pieces of the true cross being discovered. But also, yes. The trade in relics in the 9th century is growing fast and is only going to get bigger. And so you just...
I need your eyes, my friend.
Where'd the mysterious shard go? Gotcha.
Time to die! A small, strange shard. Yet it weighs heavily in my hand. What is it, I wonder?
Doesn't matter. No one will know. Oh. Okay. Dang, 9th century people think, wait, how did wood last 800 to 900 years? Literally a miracle. Right, like, I mean, that is literally the explanation, is, it is a miracle. Right, that is like, one of the most classic miracles is that the things do not decay because they are holy. Oh, there's an explosive on that side of things. Oh. Well, that's different.
This must be the oasis Nihal had in mind.
Please stop. Me. Let us go down here to this very real place that has nothing metaplot or goofy or nonsense about it. Right? Right. Right. Right.
I wonder where this leads.
Yeah, in the first game, Goof Sharp, you actually couldn't swim. They tried to say it was because the Animus could handle water technology. But it was also very funny for Lead Assassin Altair ibn Ishaq to, or Altair ibn Lahad, sorry, to jump into the water and just immediately drown.
What magic is this? Surely there is a way to diminish it.
Gee, I wonder if it's related to the mysterious shards. Gee, who could have guessed that the mysterious shards collectibles give you an Isu nonsense weapon set? Though, I'm gonna be real. For a nonsense weapon, that's a relatively not nonsense weapon. I mean, I don't think that pommel is nearly large enough for how big that blade is. But like, Better than bulletproof Maya suit. Exactly. Now that's the sort of goofy weapon we know and love. Well, we have figured out the problem. We have figured out that solution. Figure out that something. Blade's a bit wide and a bit short for the handle. Yeah. I mean, our current sword, I think, also has that problem of the blade being a little wide, but like every video game sword, almost, has that problem. Anyway, welcome back to Baghdad proper. I must remind everyone again, this counts as subtle.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
I am glad you are safe.
Alhamdulillah. A first of many achievements to come, Basim.
We should only hope. There's still much work to do.
I don't want people to do a very sacred Southeast Asian sort of fiction. Oh no.
Love quietly scouted the city for where we could erect more buildings.
Exactly.
I have found dwellings in 3 districts that are most...
Alhamdulillah, praise be to God.
Abid and Rebecca have arrived from Alamut and set off to Al Abbasiyah and Karh. I will make my way to Sharqiya shortly.
And I will join Rebecca in Karh, where corruption is as common as the arid air. See Abu Ja'far about some things he's been working on. Then
yeah.
find us.
All right.
Have a look, Basim.
Mr.
May have something that is of interest.
Mr. Algebra, what have you got? Oh. Oh. Smoke bombs, traps, noisemakers. Give me it.
This should serve me well. My thanks, Ahmad.
It's
No.
Oh, you jest.
Every now and again. Araka lahikan, Abu Ja'far. Keep well.
And you, Basim.
Mr. Algebra. Abu Ja'far. So, reminder, every time we see this guy, we gotta acknowledge this guy. This is Abu Ja'far Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi. This is the man who gave us the English word algebra from his treatise on al-Jabr, or equalizing. And his name, al-Khwarizmi, gives us the term algorithm. So, he is to blame for, you know, your YouTube recommendation feed. Please write all letters of complaint to him. Exactly. Right, his al-Khwarizmi gets Latinized to algorithm, and from algorithmus, and from algorithmus to algorithm, and from algorithm to algorithm.
A request for help from Murjana, the daughter of Ali Baba.
Oh no! Oh no!
Rich beyond measure. What could the daughter of a famed merchant want? It says to meet her outside the gates of Baghdad.
It's caught up to us, chat. Well, I think I know what we're doing when we start the afternoon stream block. Right, we'll save that for the afternoon. Very now, alaikum assalam, Mr. Algebra. True. We're gonna start we're gonna do that at the start of the afternoon stream bar. Yeah, I pre-ordered the game so I'd have it right away, and as a result, I get an Alibaba and the 40 Thieves quest. My expectations. We're worried already? You're telling me. How many contracts do you have right now? Like 8? I have like 8 contracts right now. It's kind of a big deal. Oh, hey! Whoa! Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa! We're not in the Bureau? And we have assassins walking about? The tiles are so good. Let's go for a swim in the canal. I'm sure there's nothing bad inside of it. Nothing to be worried about.
There, one of the Thaabin members. I should investigate.
لعشت في ظل صاحب البريد. هناك متاعب كثيرة في سامراء هذه الأيام.
I never did find that leather man you mentioned. In the date palm court by the Dar Mamlaka, right? You'll have to point him out next time we're posted in the area.
يجب أن أرى المخطوطات وأقيم صحتها. إلا أنني على بعد 3 أسابيع.
Sneak, sneak, sneak.
That man is a killer! Stop him!
This shard brings me one step closer to uncovering the mysteries of the chamber.
Alright, now we're gonna run away. Dang it! Didn't run away fast enough. Run, around we go. Where we stop, nobody knows. Am I still being hunted? No. Thank you. What? You're fine. You're fine.
Greetings.
Welcome, welcome.
Let us see what you have got.
Please. It's all in the weave, of course.
Upgrade?
Excellent choice.
And does it become fancier? It does not seem to become fancier. But what if it became fancier? No.
Protection is always a sound investment. Is that all?
I will be off then.
I know, right?
Farewell, sir.
Well, exactly. We seem to have gotten rid of these.
Poor license.
And their valuables closer, lest they fall prey to larceny in the street.
God, there's so many historical sites to get again. Oh no. Boat heist. Marked coins, that's what I was looking for. The NPCs all have such cool outfits. No, that's 100% a good shout out. Right, but They have outfits that look really good, and they seem to have outfits that, at least reasonably reflect historical realities, at least with some of the higher status ones, which we have better documentation for.
That person looks suspicious. I should investigate.
What's that guard? What's the guy worried about? What was that guy worried about? Why is that guard so sus on me?
I want to talk to you. Hold it there. Here, dogs.
Ow.
Another shard.
Shame. Shame. You could have let me be stealthy. You could have let me steal.
I need to get rid of this.
And no, instead it was like, what if... What if... we just have infinite wanted posters?
Go.
Fill out that way somewhere. Found him. The general shopkeeper is selling a very nice outfit that costs 500 coins. Unless, have they added another one? Because we already got the one. We already got the one costume. The one costume's got a lot going on. Right, rejected Prince of Persia movie outfits. Or, you know, Prince Ali Mighty as Ali Ababa. It is kind of it's very good. I'm very amused by it. I'm just not gonna say, you know. There's good historical aspects to that, in that the pattern silks and saddens. But I gotta say, I kind of prefer this. I think this looks better. I want to get a die for this one. Ah, yes, our contact. Hello? Hello? Hello?
A curious choice for a meeting place. Do you have the marked coins?
They are waiting for you at Damascus Gate.
What? Is this some kind of trick?
No trick. A race. I believe I'm fast enough to outrun your reputation. See you at the gate.
I should retrieve the coins at Damascus Gate before someone else does.
Oh, come on. Run. Knock him over. Knock him over. I think it'll be very funny. Whee!
A good effort. But no matter how loud the wind howls, it will never move the mountain.
Ha!
Today you were lucky.
Ha!
Tomorrow?
Proverbs?
Perhaps not.
I have the coins. Now to make haste and deliver them.
Look at that! Basil just reciting Proverbs. Don't worry about it. Reciting proverbs sassily. Exactly. The way. How is this a restricted area? Really? Worth it. It was worth it. Somewhere else I need to be. Great line. Damn. Damn it, that doesn't actually go anywhere. That's a lot of soldiers. Oh boy. Oh boy. Success. Honestly, Assassin's Creed is historically accurate as Monty Python. That is not as big of a denigration as you think it is. Terry Jones was a highly respected Chaucer scholar, in addition to being Monty Python. So, like... I mean, the point is taken. They take a lot of liberties and a lot of fun with it. Oh. Game crash. Please tell me it just saved. Please tell me it just... You're not saying it as a dig? Well, fair enough then. There's our Ubisoft. Oh no. That's my Ubisoft. But right, actually though, right, that comparison works shockingly well, of Terry Jones, of, like, Monty Python and Ubisoft when it works well, are both very good at having Easter eggs and deep cuts, and communicating a spirit of a thing, and not as good as at showcasing the, you know, one-to-one, best research, scholarly interpretation. And, you know, they shouldn't try and do that. Neither piece wants to do that. So, the fact that they are both managed to communicate, when they manage to communicate a, vibe and a spirit and a sense of humor that, people from the period would have probably appreciated and is attested in our sources, it's actually be like, that's a really big success, and that gets a lot of people, like, interested. Hey, it literally just saved. Ah, we love when that happens. We love when that happens. I lost no progress.
No, not the new vizier. I mean the old vizier, but not the long time old vizier.
Sorry, I need to hear more of that conversation. The vizier, but not the new vizier. The old vizier, but not that old vizier. The other old vizier.
But I'll come meet you by the Jami al-Mansur after. The Sahib put me on duty at the Budbart. Who knows what time I will be done. Think they'll be on time today? How late were they yesterday? Didn't happen so often. I wouldn't mind, but
Hey.
I appreciate the service, but you are late. Please be a little quicker next time.
Yeah, well. I had trouble getting through the gate. Some people just can't be satisfied. God, that tile work is so good. Look, man, not my fault the whole world reset. True. What, is it inaccurate? I had trouble getting through the gate. Well, the fact that it was because I murdered someone is neither here nor there. It was just trouble. Okay, now. We are officially in the round city of Al-Mansur. Ooh, that's a rally. I love...
Show me everything.
Oh, good, the top of Al-Mansur's palace. Oh, heck. Understood. Al-Mansur's palace is well protected. I hear and understand. But I mean, oh my goodness. Right, already just the difference, that we can see between these outer cities, this outer part of the city, and this inner part of the city, is actually quite notable. Subtle, but notable. Right, there are more garden spaces. There is more planning. Right, this is a much more planned city with larger alleyways. Or larger roads in a very Romano-Persian style. And these concentric ring alleys and avenues for the arcades, for the houses, for the markets. We have mosques spread out really regularly to help the different quarters. We get just so much. That's super cool. Like... Oop. Yes, please. Is random question not sure if it's answered. Is there a difference between Sultan and Caliph, or are they interchangeable? They are not interchangeable. A Sultan and a much more interchangeable term in Amir, a prince. Oh, awkward.
The things that pass for art these days.
Oh hey, we pulled the thing and now the guards are just kind of spreading out now. They're not hovering. They're less aware. But yeah. Sultan and the Emir or Amir, depends on how you want to anglicize it, are both secular rulers, right? There's not really a religious function to them. They are also subsidiaries, right? A sultan, right, or a walid, or right, a sultan, a walid, and an emir all control different sizes of political states, which in some cases could be very large, but theoretically, that's like different levels of kingship or principality or, I guess, empire. A caliph, right, is officially Caliph Allah, the steward of God. So they are the head of the entire Islamic community, right? The community of the faithful, or Ummah. Their religious and political head is, properly speaking, the Caliph. Is he above us? Damn it. City of Reason, yep. Oh, that doesn't actually climb up the way I hoped it would. I know. Gasp, shock, horror. And there's a guard just in case I screw up. Luckily, I didn't screw up. I remember correctly, the rules of the taifas in the Iberian Peninsula specifically officially rule in the absence of a caliph. Exactly. Woo! Tebanji, thank you for the raid. Everyone, wave hi to our raiders. Hello, everyone. It is good to see you. To introduce myself, welcome to Ludo History. I'm Adam. I am a medieval historian and scholar of cultural heritage, and a published academic on game studies and how we can use games to teach and think about history. We are playing Assassin's Creed Mirage, and we are having a fantastic time doing so. This game is actually very good at how it's doing history, which is always a surprising sentence for an Assassin's Creed game. So, welcome one and all. Hang out, have a good time. If you have questions, of course, please do, ask them, hang out in chat, post memes. You get all your best emotes, and we can use, if you follow the channel, you get access to 5 historical marginalia to hang out with. Elias, is mobile printing a technology that's being used in Baghdad at this time? It is not. You are wondering how all these wanted posters are being made? The fact that they're all identical is a gaming contrivance, but those look like those are similar to, like, Safavid period manuscript art. Right, those look like to me they're probably a little bit later stylistically, but they look to me like they're... someone is hand sketching all of these, and it's just figuration is very static, very regular, everyone's got the same face. And thank you for the Hail Hydrate. Everyone, please, hydrate, self-care, all that's important. Alright, so we are exploring 9th century Baghdad, and one of my favorite ways... Ooh, we got another one. An apprentice talisman. Okay. Where is it? In our bag. One of the favorite small things that they're doing is that we can sell artifacts, or for their various quests, right, our collectibles. We are collecting books for the sake of a scholar at the House of Wisdom. And these are actual texts circulating in 9th century Baghdad. We are also, our old mentor and friend Derwish is a fence, and so we're collecting other tidbits for him to sell. Scythian Christian Cross, an Nestorian Christian cross from the unified Scylla dynasty east of China. The Nestorian church, or cross, was associated with the Church of the East. So, once again, our Nestorians have made it to China and Korea and set up communities in the ports there. And so, yeah, there's a Christian there's a Christian, very small principality in the 8th century in what is now modern China. Because of the Nestorians. I know, right? But that's very much a... Oh, look at the relic! Look at them! Look at them! I have to pivot farther. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, no, these relics all rule. And in our other, like, random crap that we picked up, that we can just sell randomly, oh! No! I mean, right, in terms of the historical goals of the game, trying to communicate stuff, yeah, Tabanji, here's the plan. I'm gonna take a break in about 45 minutes for lunch, and then I'll be back later this afternoon and do another whole stream block. So, we'll be going all the way through the afternoon, so if I'm not online right after lunch, I'll be back. A Horus Heron is from Nishapur. Bone Dice is from Nishapur. Caliphate Peacocks. Flamingos. More Persian stuff. A Solution. Bone Toy. A Jade Medallion. And Babylonian Lion's Jewels. It's morning in your time zone? I mean, it's 1 in the afternoon. It's no longer morning, but it is getting close to lunchtime. This is relatively late Babylonian, I believe. It's been a long time since I did Ancient Near East stuff, like, gosh, since undergrad. Yeah, 2016 would have been about the last time I did any Ancient Near Eastern stuff. So, it's been a bit. But this looks to me like it's a relatively late, like, Neo-Babylonian period. So, like, what is that? 1400 BC? 1400 BC, somewhere around there? And so, the odds of this being sold in the markets of 9th century Baghdad are negligible. But something we've seen is that the historical goals of the game is to provide a very deep snapshot of the Dar al-Islam and of the history of the Middle East, because I think the game devs and consultants know this is basically their one chance. And so, given that the Order of the Ancients are already suggesting much more continuity than is historical for this ancient Near East, between the ancient and the Islamic Near East, that gives them an opening to start thinking a lot more about, bringing in materials from other time periods and other cultures and doing more educational work. Anyway, the Barid, or the postal system. Caliph al-Mansur believed that the Abbasid state stood on 4 pillars: clerics that feared God, guards that helped the weak, honest tax collectors, and the Barid, an extensive system of couriers and spies who ensured everyone else's loyalty. Postal routes set up and paid for by the state have existed in one form or another in the Middle East since the Achaemenid Empire's Royal Road. It was an essential tool for ruling an empire stretching from Morocco to China. The Abbasids took over this system in 750 and expanded upon it in the following decades. Their Barid was made out of postal routes established to expedite the reception of news and the issuing of orders to the provinces. 930 small stations, 8 to 10 kilometers apart, were prepared and staffed with runners, riders, and horses ready to go at a moment's notice. Food, water, fodder, and everything needed by couriers were readily available to ensure the speedy transfer of information. The head of the system was the Sahib al-Barid, the Master of Letters. His job was to report the important affairs of the Caliph, to carry out his orders, and to supervise the work of the empire's administrators. As such, he was respected by his colleagues as a man who could sway their whole dynasty or destiny with a single word. Super sad Assassin's Creed China is on mobile. Yeah, I may have to pick it up at some point and try and go through it. I was not impressed with what I saw of Jade. Right, it looks like, you know, even though it's on mobile, it looks like it's a decent rendition of Assassin's Creed. It's just, it's a much less historically centered Assassin's Creed. I mean, the fact that we've got the Ming Dynasty Great Wall of China in the Han Dynasty is, yeah, Yep, it's a thing. Anyway, let's take a look at where this is from. Silver dirham with horsemen from the early 10th century, presumably Baghdad, from the Khalili collections. Yeah! Historical sites, let's go! There's another historical site inside there. Oh, that's going to be tough. And then another one out there. Are there any more in this area? Any more immediately obvious in this area, at least? No, 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 no. Cool. Viewpoint. Yeah, I think with modern communication devices, people forget just how many resources governments in the past had to pour into making sure information traveled quickly and efficiently. Absolutely. You see this a lot in the medieval Latin world, where a lot of the... It'll sometimes take months to years for news to actually spread from point to point in the way that was often needed. And so there's a big reliance on sort of people happening to travel in that direction for news to disseminate. It takes until in the Latin West, right, guild networks, right, monastic networks first, and then secular guild networks later, to start communicating more reliably and have guilds fund their own communications networks. So, right, this is a place where the opposite world is way, way, way ahead of contemporary European worlds. I'm still mostly hearing Arabic as the language in the background here. Though I'm not familiar with, you know, a lot of non-Arabic. Right, I have a... Wait. Look at that man's onion hat. This guy's, I think, would guess is probably, if I had to vibe it out, I'd actually guess that he's Egyptian with this style of onion hat. But he could also... They also could just be pulling later, like, Ottoman styles. Okay, but I want in. No, please stop pulling a knife out. Hi. Yes, please don't. Okay, there's no inside or outside entrance. So I'll have to try and find an interior entrance. Up. Up. I understand the problem. Okay, so the chest is up there, but where's the historical marker? Like... The historical marker is what we're actually going for here. The chest is just a bonus. Alright, J. Pasco. Thank you. We'll be around, so if you come back, say hi, we'll hang out more, and it's great. You know the Mongols later were known for a postal system that could send a message 200 miles per day and survived into the 1910s? Exactly, that's building off of this long tradition. Now, the Mongols themselves are already used to spreading news fairly quickly. Oh. Heck. What's going to be my solution here? I think it's over the wall. Over the wall, and then I can go sideways and then up this... up the tilework? Or up the window. Maybe I can do up the window. Yeah. Okay, so I'm now above... Oh, heck. I'm now above the historical marker. That's down there. Like, I think all the way down there, actually. But the chest is right through this wall. Which there's a breakable thing up there for. And my solution is, of course, step out from cover. Step out from cover. And knife to the face. Do you feel like there's a whole weird vibe of having the protagonist speak English, but then other people in the background chatter in Arabic and 5 other languages? We do know that there's 6 languages, though they've not said which 6. I think it's tough, right? Because on the one hand, I agree with you, there is something a bit weird, just in terms of intelligibility. On the other hand, this is something Assassin's Creed has long thought is valuable, and I kind of agree. Oh, well, you wanted the Bayek outfit. Well, you wanted a Bayek outfit. I've got you covered. But also, the Rostam outfit. I mean, look at that griffin. Look at that griffin motif. Look at that lion skin. Or that tiger skin. Look at... I mean, apart from the, like, teeth around your face, so that you're gonna get stabbed while you're running around, I actually kind of really like the outfit. I really hope we have dyes for it. I don't think we do, though. Yeah, unfortunately we only have the opposite night dye right now. And that's sad. Whoop. Hi. Bye. Seriously, you're 17 meters straight down. Ah, it's literally down there. Heck. That's somewhat troublesome. Especially with a guard there, and a guard there. Well, there is a spot to just jump. You know. Problem solving. Oh, hell yeah. Clean guy like not the clean guy is almost certainly unfree. It's super not his problem. Oh yeah. Right, that's also fair, Raptors. The whole game was recorded in Arabic as well, and the devs were like, hey, you should totally play this in Arabic. Exactly. Right, that's something in terms... This is some big chunky theory stuff, right? Assassin's Creed as a game has always been... Well, or as a franchise, has always been really interested in how do you create a world that feels plausible and immersive, right? Which are those are two very loose, weird words. But plausible and immersive are important, and increasingly they look to language as a way to communicate culture and mindset. And that means putting a lot of energy and money into recording lines in reconstructed versions of the languages that are spoken at the time. So in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, there are people speaking Old Norse and Modern Icelandic, but Old Norse, Old English, and Old Irish. So they look to that as like that and architecture as like the two main ways to communicate place and to communicate culture through place. And so, right, recording things in Arabic, Persian, Turkish. I want to hear Greek, but I haven't heard any yet. Aramaic. Whatever languages they're choosing to be spoken in Baghdad in this period. Right, they think that that's like a really, really valuable way and to communicate the sense of history and the sense of place, and to make this world feel like living, breathing, and alive in a way that works for the franchise. And I like that. Like, unironically, I think I agree with them that that's a good use of resources. When they have a limited number, a very large number, but a not infinite number, spending that money there, I think, works. It's worth the energy that they used to put into it. Certainly better than having having them speak in, like, modern Italian in AC2. Also, Faith, good morning. Anyway, let's look at another codex entry. Judges and the judicial system. Feeling wrong in the grief? Come see your Qadi, religious judge. His job is to use the Sharia, existing jurisprudence, to ensure peace among Muslims. As such, he can pass judgment on any subject, from debt to inheritance disputes, from thievery to adultery. Any free, sane, adult Muslim male. I'm guessing this is like a weird commentary tradition. I don't like that word. I don't think that's the best word they could have used there, but I'm sure there's restrictions of like, oh, right, people with a certain set of neurological disorders that are socially constructed as insanity, are excluded in manuals and commentaries for the tradition. I think that's ungraceful, but I think I know where that's coming from. Anyway, any free adult Muslim male could become a Qadi. He simply needed to receive an education in Islamic sciences from the adult classes offered around the city. He could then practice law at the mosque or at home. There he would wait for plaintiffs to present petitions and make their case against defendants. Each of them could produce witnesses and supporting written elements. Guided by Islamic precedent, the Qadi would then issue his judgment. His decision could not be appealed. Depending on the crime, punishments could be discretionary or predetermined. Slandering a neighbor could lead to 80 lashes, while injuring his head would cost you 5 camels. Qadis were also responsible for confirming on a local level that Caliphal decisions correspond to Sharia. They could therefore refute Caliphal law on the grounds that ran contrary to religious law. In order to retain their power over religious authorities, Caliphs employed various methods to curb the influence of local Qadis. One such method was the Mazalim Court, a tribunal packed with judges nominated by the Caliphs. Read. Denunciation. Revered judges of the Mazalim Court, you recently visited my village to investigate the work of a certain Qadi who had been accused of egregious corruptions. You should know that on the day of your visit, he disguised himself as a merchant and loudly sang his own praises in the marketplace for your benefit. Do not be taken in by his trickery. Do not let him bribe you. And another letter. Judgment and product. Edict. The accused Qadi has committed a brazen miscarriage of justice for the sake of personal gain, egregious, etc., etc. It is therefore the opinion that this court that they should be stripped of the rank of Qadi to ensure that the course of judges is no longer perverted, etc., etc. Asif, please add in details, dates. Adil ibn Munsif. I love that. I also love that they've localized Arabic filler words as etc., etc. My translation of the 1001 Nights, which is very 19th century and not a big deal, but the translation I've got here will often use such and such for the same formulas. So it will translate the decree as, such and such will present himself to so and so at such time. And those are all filler words that'll then be replaced in the actually issued edict. And so that is very good. Very fun. Surrendering evidence. Be it advised that all officers of the court are strictly prohibited from keeping evidence of corruption on their persons or in private bureaus. All evidence must be kept in the storage space atop the courts for safekeeping. Ill-gotten gains in particular must be surrendered lest they fall into the wrong hands. This court must punish corruption, not fall prey to it. Exactly. Yo, scribe, fill in the case details. That... That's not Arabic. Is that Aramaic? People who know languages better than me, or know languages of this world better than me. I don't feel like that's Arabic. Chat, any ideas? It might be Arabic, but it doesn't quite sound right. There's at least an accent difference happening there. Oh, no clue from you. We forgot to check what the manuscript is from. Gaudi holding audience in Hariri's Baqamat, 13th century copy of a 10th century original from Iraq. Yeah, right, it sounds not like how the game has rendered Arabic to this point. Hey everyone! Ma'am? That is a deeply distressing face. The completely still facial animation just kinda got to me. Secret Vampire the Masquerade character. But hey, showcases a couple of things. Firstly, I'm guessing that they are not Muslim. Right? I mean, the blonde hair does kind of suggest that way automatically. But I do think, right, it would still be culturally fine for there to be non-Muslim potentially of... Wait. No. Of non-Muslim probably, I would suggest Eastern European or Slavic adjacent origin, and therefore could be enslaved women on business in the courts, a thing which did happen. Anyway, I'm just following this guy because I think we all need to take a moment. That's a good hat right there. That... Look, this is already a pretty A-tier hat. This is like an A-plus tier hat. This is not Suleiman the Magnificent Onion Turban levels of quality hat. This is not ridiculous elite female Byzantine headdresses S-tier hat. But that's like an A-plus tier hat. Hello. Don't mind me, not another codex entry. The education system. Let's go. Alright. Education at a rudimentary level was accessible to most boys and girls in Abbasid cities. That's an important word right there. I think one we don't want to forget. The difference between urban communities and rural communities in the Abbasid Caliphate is quite significant. So while they still have some access, realistically, much of it relies on the being within travel distance to a madrasa or a school, or bigger universities such as the Qarawiyyan in Fez. While elite members of society would be taught by private tutors at home, less fortunate children, ages 6 to 9, would attend the Kutab, a place of writing. Again, notice we've got the book, right, the semantic cluster in Arabic for book, right? Ka, ta, and ba. So, kitab, book, kataba, read, kataba, write, kutab, a place where you write. A school usually located in a mosque. It was run by a male teacher whose wage was paid by the parents or subsidized by pious endowments, in the case of destitute or orphan children. His job was to teach the children to read and write by copying verses of the Quran on any surface he could. Paper, clay tablets, wax tablets, especially as it kind of standardizes in the 9th to 12th centuries, wax tablets become really popular in madrasas. Even sand. Some elements of arithmetic and basic religious duties such as the rules of ablutions and prayer were also taught. but the most valued achievement of any Kutab student was to memorize and recite the 6,348 verses of the Quran, a feat that would merit the child an award and an honorific procession throughout the city. Most children did not pursue their studies after elementary school, but adult classes existed and could be attended by anyone willing to listen. They covered lectures on subjects like Quranic exegesis, law, theology, logic, or medicine. To become a master, a student had to participate in classes until he was deemed knowledgeable enough and given an ijaza, a sort of diploma. These adult classes could take place in any large public space, especially in mosque courtyards. In the 11th century, the system developed further and became centered on the madrasas, schools for adults funded by endowments provided by patrons. Some academic debates exist as to whether girls could attend public classes. Sharing class with boys and traveling to the Kutab could lead to evils, such as harassment, aggression, or, talking. The lady walking around with uncovered blonde hair might also be forbidden from one of the polities in the Caucasus that are in close contact with the Dar al-Islam. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I don't... Right, let's push that anywhere from, the Volga River through to the Caspian Sea. So anywhere in modern, Georgia, Christian Armenia, other Caucasus borderland states whose names escape me, the Bulgars, potentially, maybe not as much them, but the very western edge of the Bulgar Khaganate, and the Rus states. Anyway, could also prevent girls from learning the domestic skills they were expected to require. The idea they should be taught at home was therefore quite popular, even if exceptions did exist. Daughters of rich and scholarly families, for instance, would benefit from a thorough home education, and hundreds of women scholars' names are known. I would love if you gave us examples, Codex. But this figure is dwarfed by the number of male scholars from the period. A Kutab school in Hariri's Maqamat, 13th century copy of a 10th century original from Iraq. It's good. It's good. I like the calligraphic decorations here. Alright, what's next? I think we want to get up here, and then we're going to have a very quick ad break, and then go for just a couple minutes longer. Because I desperately need to stand up. So we're going to get you to a nice pretty spot, and go from there. Now, climbing a minaret during the call to prayer is probably a problem, but, we're not very good at this anyway, so... I have to go around the other way. Up there. There. There, I can climb up the... Surely I can climb up the top of the thing. No. Ooh. Pulled a throwing knife out of nowhere. Don't know where that came from. Not gonna complain. And up onto the tile work. Up onto the top. Nope, come on. And synchronize. I stole the Muezzin's lunchbox, I know. I know. I'm a terrible person. Perfect. Naturally, inevitably, obviously. A sentence that should surprise 0 people After the break, we're going to finish off the stream by grabbing these two, and then make our way down into Karth. With Rebecca. Good to go hang out with Rebecca more. Okay. So, we're going to take a very quick ad break, because I need to stand up. And then it's going to be good. We're not going to go for very long after the ad break. I think we're just going to try and grab those two, because we are almost... I have something at 2, so it's 1:30 right now. So we'll go for like 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll take a break for lunch, and then rock out for the afternoon session. Okay? So don't go anywhere. We'll be back very, very shortly. Alright, welcome back everyone. Hope you enjoyed that very brief ad break. If you're just tuning in, we're about to wrap up today's stream, or this morning's stream, of Assassin's Creed Mirage. We're going to pick up a couple more historical sites, hang out, have a good time. If you've been enjoying this though, make sure you hit the follow button so that you can be notified for all of it. Again, right, we are not done for today, or we're not going to be done for today. We are just going to be done for lunch. So, couple more minutes, couple more history sites, and let's do it. A thing I super duper appreciate about the history sites, by the way, is that these are not rewards for challenges. Right? Like, these are not rewards for being good at the game. There's not rewards for accomplishing weird and fun and exciting things. These are not hiding in areas that are difficult to get to. They're just around. Nope, that's not the right one. Okay. Wow, we've got a lot of stuff happening around here, huh? They're also, like, super annoying and intrusive. Piece of jewelry that showcases the fine crafting techniques from the artisans of the Abbasid Caliphate. Right, they're, like, weird and glitchy and annoying, and they're gonna pop up and, like, flicker near you and make noises and generally be disruptive, and that's cool. Alright, the Shurta. In modern Arabic, Shurta translates to police, but in the Abbasid period, the Shurta does not resemble anything like its current equivalent. As an institution, the Shurta is traced back to the Umayyad period, which is best understood as a type of night watch, patrolling the cities of the empires with lanterns similar to this one. The presence signaled the Caliph's commitment to keeping urban centers safe. At the beginning of the 8th century, the Shurta's role expanded as they became executors of the Caliph's justice, the elite hangmen of the period who could be called to enforce capital punishment or to calm dissent. The Shurta was headed by the Sahib al-Shurta, the master of the Shurta, a man whose authority paralleled that of the Muhtasib, market inspector, or the Qadi, judge. This position was particularly prominent in the 7th and 8th centuries when the Umayyad dynasty ruled over the empire. However, as the bureaucracy of the Abbasid Empire expanded, bringing the central state to increasingly distant locations, responsibilities initially given to the Shurta began to fall to the army. By the 11th century, the Shurta no longer acted as caliphal bodyguards, executioners, or suppressors, as they once had. That is, by the way, completely unlike European institutions in the period, where police forces basically don't exist. And any and all policing efforts are done either by guilds, in the later Middle Ages, in volunteer rich boy night watches, or just done by the army. Animals. Animal history. Let's go. In addition to its many human residents, the Caliphal court was home to numerous animals. Coming from every corner of the empire and featuring in public as well as private settings, they symbolize the caliph's power and generosity. Enthralled ambassadors were received in the capital by silk-clad elephants, while shiny thoroughbred horses were ridden by the caliph in his public appearances. Zubaydah, wife of Caliph Harun al-Rashid, even had a pet monkey which she dressed as a general. But no animal features as heavily at court as the hunting falcons of the Caliphal falconry grounds. Like the Lanskadaks you mentioned, Lanskadaks are weird. Lanskadaks are mercenaries. So those are early modern, professional mercenaries who dress up dummy fancy. What you should, a bit closer one, they definitely intersect with the rich boy night watches, but if you look at Rembrandt van Rijn's The Night Watch, that's a really good example of that. A lot of those are, like, they're clearly pretty cushy. Actually, let me pull it up. We can do that. We can do that, and then we'll finish up with animals at court, and then we'll be done. Give it to me in original size. Well, good enough. 1200 pixels. That'll be good enough. Alright. Right. As you look at this squad, this doesn't look much like a particularly professional soldiery, right? Right. They're wildly different in dress. There's kids running around, pretending that they're soldiers. People are just kind of quietly hanging on to stuff. Pretty loose, pretty disorganized. Not a lot happening. They're, however, dressed very fancily, suggesting that these are, pretty wealthy, self-funding volunteers. They're doing it because it's cushy and they don't have to actually do a lot. So, right, this is an example of, even when there is a night watch, what's going on in early modern Europe. In earlier periods, there's even less. The Shurfa, in contrast, is actually relatively, it's almost paramilitary, honestly. Because how do you distinguish police and soldiers? Certainly, the United States fails to. Wait, sorry, is that too political? Is that too political? Anyway, back to the animals at court. Better news. You have many Pukeku or Pukeko from Maximum Chaos. I like that. Since antiquity, falcons have been linked to gods and kings in the Persian culture, which influenced the Abbasid court. Through their graceful flight and deadly efficiency, they were associated with various heavenly beings protecting good and resisting evil. Seeing them on the eve of battle, or using their feathers on weapons was thought to bring supernatural protection. Training them was therefore a way of harnessing divine help and cultivating legitimacy. Caliphs also use falcons to hunt, as well as in public demonstrations of skill. They devote huge resources to their acquisition and maintenance. Elaborate hunting technique expeditions provide full-time employment to a vast group of organizers, trainers, veterinarians, and assistants working under the supervision of the Al-Bazar, one of the main officers of the court. Professional catchers who picked up eggs and chicks in their nest, as well as merchants dealing in sporting birds from all over the world, including Iceland. Icelandic guard falcons were traded all the way to the Abbasid court, also profited from this costly habit. Falcons even featured in poems and training guides. One of the most famous guides, Kutab al-Muwakkili, was written for Caliph al-Mutawakkil himself, an avid hunter. God, I love ultra high status, hunting manuals being associated with imperial rulers, right? The standard Western tradition of falconry uses De Arte Venandi Olivos, which is written by Frederick II Hohenstaufen. So, we love that continuity. Bronze ewer from 8th century Iran. Alright, I think, honestly, I wish I knew better what time of night. It still is pretty, you know. It's gonna be a few minutes till dawn breaks. But that's okay. Heck. That's okay. Because I want to just travel back here, and we'll let dawn break over the city, and then we'll call it a morning. Morning. I wish I could let time pass a bit more, sensibly. But in the meantime, I just want to kind of sum up where my thoughts are at so far on the game. Because, realistically, the game seems to be, kind of increasingly as we move into it, leaning into the Persian-ness of the Abbasid Caliphate, which is, I think, a fine and frankly reasonable solution. There certainly is a massive Persian contingent. The Persian contingent is who gets the Abbasids in the first place. So, like, that's hardly a surprise. But it is, I think, notable, right, that they end up pulling a bunch of stuff from the Shahnameh and from texts that really get codified in the Safavid period in order to really lean into that. So we've got like 8 things that refer to Rostam already, which is very, and even more random trinkets from Nishapur. And that's interesting to me, right? While I like that they are doing that, showing some of this diversity, it is, I think, at least sometimes and in some ways, in tension. That gets us all the way into midday. No, I didn't want a full 12 hours to pass. We'll warp up. Did we already talk about the domes? We've talked a bit about the domes. The domes are omnipresent, but we've not deep dug into the domes. Mostly I wanted to get the lighting effects of early morning. I guess that is still like dawn-ish, overlooking the Caliphal Palace and the Round City, because holy moly. What a dome. My instinct is that this is actually relatively late. Right, that's actually that's probably not a 9th century dome. That's probably, honestly, maybe based on Mughal designs. But yeah, right. I don't have a super coherent thought. I just think the fact that we're operating in this very folkloric narrative milieu, right, that we're operating in an extremely folkloric milieu means that they're pulling as much from the Shahnameh as they're pulling from the 1001 Nights, and really trying to lean into some of that and using that as a framework to create this very mythic, slightly atemporal space to have this narrative. And I want to dig into this afternoon ways in which the narrative design of the game, right, the quest case structure, the investigations, the cutscenes, all kind of are building towards a very folkloric milieu in a way that I think we can contrast usefully with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And also, we can just vibe out and enjoy how gosh darn pretty this is. Like, okay, yeah. Actually, this can show it really well. That dome, and this dome are clearly not from the same culture. Right. No one can dispute that dome right there and this dome right here are not from the same place. You guess the Alibaba quest will give us a solid thing for the folkloric side of things? True. Very, very true. Hello, Magistressa, you came in at the lunch break. So, as I said, right, I need to go get lunch. It's 2 p.m. or it's 1:45. I need to go get lunch. So, we're gonna cut off the stream here. VOD watchers, this will be uploaded as a separate part. Makes a nice, easy, simple thing for you, right? But we will be back. Somewhere between 1 and 2 hours. So, don't go too far away. I will post as many places as I can when we are live again for the afternoon block. There may be guests. Okay, one guest may hop in again in the afternoon block, so get hype. But yeah, we're gonna pick up by trying to go do the Alibaba DLC or pre-order quest and see how interesting that's gonna get. So, thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, of course, make sure you hit that follow button to be notified for the afternoon block and all future streams. And if you did like this, consider supporting the channel by subscribing or dropping a couple bits my way. It keeps the project running. It's super appreciated. Regardless, everyone, stand up, stretch, go get lunch, do what you need to, and we'll be back here in an hour or two. Okay? Okay. See you later. And of course, thank you, as always, to our Patreon supporters listed here. I'll obviously need to update that for everyone who just joined. But additionally, I want to thank the people who just followed Tabanji and the subs and resubs for Terralingua. And Tabanji also for the raid. Thank you. Thank you. And everyone, have a good night. Or good lunch. I'm so used to saying night. Anyway, bye for now.